Ah, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful day to be awake and alive here in Wen's world. Of course, we have the one, the only, the wrestling encyclopedia, Vincent Kennedy Bucci.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Money in the Bank was one heck of a pay-per-view.
Booch. Don't go too far. And listen, you sound a little too excited for somebody that obviously got squashed at this prediction event. I mean, after all, Booch, I came into this event, this extravaganza, on a tear, a one pay-per-view tear. And it wasn't even close, Booch. It wasn't quite a shutout because, I mean, nobody gets shut out on this show. But it was pretty bad for you. It was quite embarrassing for you. And I still feel kind of bad. So what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
Well, actually, Wenz, I was going to say, obviously, you seem very happy, but, and you're in the middle. I know you're in selfie mode right now, but
oh, yeah,
I was actually going to ask you, for a favor before we started the show.
Yeah, anything for you. Sure.
And that favor is acknowledge me.
Wait, where did you get that?
Gentlemen, that's right. It was ladies and gentlemen, one of the most amazing moments we had at Money in the Bank. As you can see, the title is on my shoulder. The Booch is good all the time, and all the time, the Booch is good. As you can see, this amazing belt. And the reason this belt is amazing is me. I make this amazing because with a score of 4-0 in what was a blowout, a shutout, a perfect game, whatever you want to call it, the Booch emerged triumphant, which means at the end of the night, the Wenz was at the Booch's feet saying, Booch, you are the man, you are the champion, and yes, you rule the world of wrestling.
Well, at this point, I think it's fitting that, we go back and revisit some of these matches because, I guess I've been wrong before. So let's talk about it, Booch. Let's start first with the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. This one, Booch, I got swerved so many times. I mean, it could have gone so many ways. Let's talk about it in light of the outcome and then what happened after this. Did you feel the same way? Did you feel like they put on a great show? Because I did. I felt like this, ladies and gentlemen, may have been the match of the night.
Do I think it's the match of the night? No. I won't go that far, but it did have a lot of edge of your seat moments, especially with the botch from Shotzi, where her and Alexa fell against that ladder. And I was like, I don't know what they were trying to do there, but I got scared. Like, is Alexa actually hurt? Like, clearly it's an accident. I'm not trying to say Shotzi's unsafe or anything like that, but that was not whatever move they were trying to do didn't work. And I don't think she should ever try that again.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. Whatever Shotzi, whatever move you were thinking about doing, you clearly can't do it. So nobody was injured. Everybody's fine. Don't do it again. So that being said, it was great. It was action-packed. It had you on the edge of your seat. And Liv Morgan, as I mentioned last time, that was a total guess. I had no idea that Liv was going to win this. I didn't have any advanced knowledge. If it was up to me,
the encyclopedia doesn't have advanced knowledge. Go figure.
Well, no, I'm the encyclopedia because I look at history. It's got nothing to do with the future. Encyclopedia is about the past.
Yeah. Well, it's an updated edition, Booch.
Okay.
2022.
Well, of course it was updated. I updated it. So my point is, the match was amazing, and Liv Morgan, of course, winning the Money in the Bank. I was just as shocked as everybody because I was just like, my mindset was with Money in the Bank. I'm like, okay, Becky. They usually want to pick an underdog or a surprise to win. It's usually never the person you believe should win, like a Lacey Evans or even a Raquel Rodriguez for that matter.
Sure.
Two people I felt could have been easily won this. But when I even thought Asuka because they were going to hand that to her. But when Liv Morgan, I was like, nah, Liv Morgan, I've got a feeling because I know, and especially what we're going to talk about soon, there's a way she's not somebody that has won a title legitimately. Every time she's been in a legit one-on-one match, she has gotten crushed. And that's why people have been rooting for her. She's got an underdog feel. So what better way to potentially make her champion than to give her the briefcase where she can cash it in.
Well, not only cash it in, Booch, but I'm also going to have to eat a slice of humble pie, and it's not tasty at all. Folks, if you remember last time, I went on quite the tirade about how Money in the Bank winners end up actually being losers. Well, I was wrong. I was wrong about the women's Money in the Bank, and I may end up being dead wrong about the men's Money in the Bank. But here's the rub, ladies and gents. I would much rather be wrong and see progress than be right and celebrate success like a lot of other podcast hosts who predict things and want negative things just so they were right. Let me be wrong about everything and let WWE be on the come up. And actually, believe it or not, catch up to AEW in the hearts of a lot of wrestling fans. And this is the way you do it. This is the way you do it. Booch, I don't believe you that you had no intuition. Although you may be an encyclopedia, you're very thoughtful and insightful. And actually, when you did select Liv, there was something that made me think, you know what? She is kind of due. She is kind of due. And Booch, when she won, I thought, here we go. Booch is up, but there's plenty of things I can come back on. But I did not see what we both saw coming later on that evening. And that is what happened and transpired after the Ronda Rousey and Natalya match. Booch, the Ronda Rousey and Natalya match was awesome. I mean, the throw into the ring pole, that was spectacular. I mean, people are talking about it, they're still buzzing. This match was believable. It was hardcore. And I don't know, Booch, is this your match of the night?
This is not my match of the night, but as I mentioned before, I expected nothing less out of these two.
Yeah.
I knew Natalya could get a good match out of Ronda, and she did. I was very impressed with Ronda because the last time when she had the match with She Who Must Not Be Named at WrestleMania, they had
Charlotte Flair, in case anybody is wondering.
Yes. People accused her of not selling or not having the ability to sell. In this match, she sold very well. Like that leg, she sold throughout the entire match and the aftermath. She really did show her chops in this. And I think that Natalya, really, like I said, she accentuated her strength, hid whatever weaknesses she had. And that's what people need. That's what a good technical wrestler, a good hand, that's the purpose they serve in wrestling. Is if you got somebody that is a star, but they're limited as far as wrestling goes, you put them in the ring with good wrestlers to get your talent over. And that's exactly what Natalya did. She served the purpose to get Ronda Rousey over because that's who they want to push as their top star for reasons that are valid, money drawing, legitimacy, everything else. As good as Natalya is, she's never been a top star, and I doubt she'll ever be one. Is she one of the best in the ring? Absolutely, but not a star. Ronda is. So Natalya was helpful in that regard, and it was a brutal match. She made Ronda work for it, and she did, and she was able to retain.
And then something happened.
Yes.
We heard the xylophone or whatever childhood musical instrument that plays. And here comes Liv running down the aisle. For one, as soon as I heard the music, I was like, wait a minute, this is crazy. And then immediately she gets put in an ankle lock after she encourages the referee to ring the bell, right? And I'm like, here we go. My point exactly. And then it gets turned. She wins. She beats Ronda. And as it should have been written, Ronda gracefully hands over the reins to SmackDown. I don't know the terms behind the curtains in terms of her deal, her contract, what her vacation status is. But like we talked about, Booch, earlier, perhaps off the air, this was the only believable way that Liv Morgan can beat Ronda Rousey. And this emphasizes and really reiterates your point, Booch, that as of now, Liv Morgan has not been able to beat a championship caliber female wrestler. Is this going to change, or is Liv Morgan going to be champion but always on the run as if she holds the 24/7 belt?
That could be the case. Or maybe they're going to finally toughen her up and give her a solid victory. There's a million different ways they can do it. But what made this work was Ronda's trying to pull herself up after she just won. And then they zoom in, they look real closely. You see her go, "Oh shit!" Like she the words, "Oh shit!" And which I was like, "Oh crap!" They might get in trouble for that. But Liv comes out, and then like so they have the match. And again, she has that. As soon as you put that ankle lock in, I'm thinking it's over. Everyone's thinking it's over, and that's what made it great. Like, okay, like, oh crap, Liv's gonna tap because again, she's lost a lot. She gets beat all the time. So it had the fans thinking, oh, they just wasted this cash in. But then she kicks the injured leg. That's what made it brilliant. And the fact that Liv knew which leg to kick, despite the fact she's not looking. Because I'm telling you right now, if I'm Ronda and you kick the wrong leg, I'm holding on.
Yeah, so you have to go. Because fans are smarter than
you're doing some type of way where you whisper to her, other leg, and then she kicks that leg. I've seen that happen in matches where there was a fight one time between Cornette and Paul Heyman. They were having a manager fight, and Cornette had an injured knee. So we told Paul Heyman, because back then Paul used to have the big ass phone, like cell phone thing.
Sure. The Zach Morris phone.
The Zach Morris phone. And he was supposed to hit him in the knee with it at the start of the match. So that way, when he started limping later, he took enough pain meds to get down the ramp, but he knew at some point he was going to be limping. So hit this leg. So when I limp, it makes sense. And Paul's hitting the leg, and Cornette has to like pull him down and look at him. He goes, other knee, stupid. So Paul panics. He starts hitting both knees with the phone because he hit the wrong leg. So,
oh my gosh.
So she kicks the leg. Ronda goes down. Again, makes sense because she's been in pain with that leg the whole match.
Right.
And then does the roll up. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And Ronda handing off the belt and doing everything. And that made sense because of some backstage stuff that I heard. Because they were talking about basically they were going over at some point when Ronda was going to drop the title. We didn't know when, but that's the thing you talk about when you're champion is, okay, you've got the belt. Now at some point you're going to have to drop this when the time is right. And Ronda's only request, she said, if the time ever comes that I have to drop the title, I want to drop it to the most passionate, deserving woman in that locker room.
Charlotte Flair. She just wasn't there because she's getting married. She's very busy. And listen, her aside, I guess a second choice could be Liv Morgan.
Actually, no. Actually, I'm glad you brought up Charlotte because that's why I say Ronda's a better champion because unlike Charlotte, she is unselfish. That is the point I was trying to make with this whole statement. You got Charlotte, who's all about Charlotte. You got Ronda that's like, give me the most passionate woman. And Liv Morgan, let's be honest, most passionate person in that locker room. So they did it in a way to where, okay, I can drop this belt to where I don't look stupid, but I give the rightful person the belt. And Ronda kind of shakes her hand because it was like, all right, I get what the Money in the Bank is all about. You took your advantage, you took your opportunity, but like a true champion at some point, Ronda's going to want a rematch.
Sure.
And I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Nope.
Because I don't think they want to make Liv drop the belt that fast. I don't see Liv Morgan ever getting a legit victory over Ronda Rousey. The rest of the women on the roster, maybe.
It'll be a triple threat match. It'll be a triple threat match or something like that. Fatal
like
four-way, something like that.
Or Sasha Banks, maybe. Wait, Sasha's not there.
Wait a minute. Did you just say, Booch, did you say Carmella? Because she also had a match at Money in the Bank, did she not?
Yes, she was. She had Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship.
And by the way, this match surpassed a lot of expectations. I mean,
God did it.
It was a great match, and Carmella is due a little bit of love. I know she's the most beautiful girl in WWE, and with that, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yes.
and being the best looking person, as I on the show, obviously, I can relate to the struggle that is being the best looking person because everybody wants to tear you down a peg, and Carmella probably feels that way all the time, even with Bianca, the EST, the strongest, the fastest, and maybe if beautifulest was a word, Corey Graves would disagree, of course, but she really put down real talk, Booch. Carmella was amazing at Money in the Bank. Yes. And I love what they're doing with her. And I love this real life storyline with Corey Graves defending her. And it's brilliant. It's awesome. I love it. And I hope, obviously, I hope they don't get divorced so they have to abandon it. But it's great. It's working. I like it. And by the way, Bianca is still the EST of WWE. So
yes, that was another point for yours truly right here. And great moment. Bianca showing that she is the EST on her show, and Lord knows I can relate to that. And of course, this amazing back and forth action in this match was just stellar. It was a stellar match, and it delivered. Now, was this my match of the night? No, not yet, but very close. This came very close. Again, the women are now finally showcasing good quality matches, which is what they need to do to win over the fans and other people, Gator, who still think that women's wrestling shouldn't exist at all.
Dude,
this is a step in the right direction.
Well, let's be honest. I mean, I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but there is, I think, every single pay-per-view that I've seen over the last 2 years, generally speaking, the women have outperformed the men on nearly every single pay-per-view. Why? Because of everything you just said. Because they do have a chip on their shoulder. Because they do have to prove it. Yeah. And, not everybody's as genetically gifted as a Charlotte Flair, per se. Just random name I just threw out just because, but those who aren't as blessed as she, as the aforementioned queen of WWE, they have to work extra hard. And Bianca Belair is one of those people. Carmella is one of those people. And so we've pretty much covered the fairer sex on that side of the show. Obviously, the big winners coming out of that are Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair. Liv Morgan set to cash in at SummerSlam. What's your way too early prediction for that predicament?
Well, let's see. Well, right now we're looking at a lot of stuff. What predicament?
Do you think Liv Morgan can maintain at SummerSlam?
Yes, I think she's got a shot. Although, is she in a triple threat match, or is she doing a rematch with Ronda? Which match is it? Because I'm seeing two different things on the internet. One saying there's going to be a rematch. The other one saying it's a triple threat. But if it's a triple threat, I think Liv can survive. I think she'll survive most definitely. If she's having a rematch with Ronda, she's not walking out. I doubt they're going to make her get a legit victory over Ronda Rousey. It has to be something where, like, does she pin her and her foot's on the rope, or she gets injured and takes advantage of it? I don't see Ronda Rousey clean laying down for Liv Morgan. And again, it's not believable to me.
Well, Boots, the good news is you won't have to see that, because Liv Morgan is going against Charlotte Flair.
No, she's not.
Yes, Boots, she is. This is going to be amazing.
Oh God,
I can't wait. I can't wait for Charlotte for that to be around a worthy competitor. Now, you said it yourself, Booch, earlier. Run the tape back, please. Liv Morgan can't get a win against a solid competitor on her own. I mean, you heard it there yourself.
I know. If Liv is facing Charlotte Flair, it's done. Liv got a short title reign.
Liv life is over.
It's over. Stick a fork in. It's done. It's done.
So that's my way too early. This stupid teenage dream of Liv Morgan is going to be down the drain with all of her fake blonde hair. And listen, Liv Morgan would be a good addition to the Judgment Day. That's my way too early prediction. I think Charlotte Flair takes the championship belt at SummerSlam. Liv Morgan joins the Judgment Day along with her bestie. And that's the way I think it's going to go. What about you? Do you think that's
I don't know if she's going to join the Judgment Day necessarily, because right now she's on a solid roll with the belt. So I think she would have to lose the title before they even consider bringing her to the Judgment Day.
I think we just covered that. SummerSlam.
Yeah, if she's losing to Charlotte, then she's joining the Judgment Day.
Did you say if?
Yeah. I don't know. You don't know. There could be some crazy shenanigans. There might be a distraction. Liv takes advantage. You don't know what could happen. We just saw her beat Ronda Rousey.
She didn't beat Ronda Rousey. She came in like a cheap shot artist, like somebody
exactly. But I'm saying that could happen with Charlotte too. Don't
like AJ Styles, coming after the Miz without reason or just cause, that kind of nonsense.
Always just cause to attack the Miz. He's a douche.
Well, that's just incorrect. It's factually incorrect. It's incorrect on every single level, and I won't stand for it. That's why I'm sitting right now. I won't stand for that.
All right.
But let's talk. Let's move the chains.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about this bloodline that I'm just so sick of. Please, I wish this bloodline would donate all of their blood so they would bleed out, and we would no longer have to deal with this pain vein, this vein of pain and misery. And Booch, are we going to be able to see the Usos lose while Roman Reigns is winning, and vice versa, or is this a package deal?
Well, I think it's a package deal, and this is another win for me. And the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's not important. Why do you have to keep revisiting the fact that you win these matches? I'm sorry, well, I shouldn't have done that.
I do that with I do that all the time. I can't make an exception just because I got a shutout. You know, I've done it I've done it on the rare moments you've been champ. I'm fair with this. So my point is, what we got here with this tag match is, this was my match of the night. When I kept saying, what's the match of the night? This right here was one of the best tag team matches I have seen in years. Granted, the Usos won. I knew they would. Some people disappointed, some people weren't. But overall, the chemistry was on point. The moves were on point. No time was wasted. It was the second longest match of the night, and it delivered. Like this, if this pay-per-view wasn't called Money in the Bank, I would have made this the main event. It was that damn good. I mean, people can say whatever they want about the Usos holding on to the belts for too long. Me personally, I'm a diehard. Everybody knows Street Profits. I want the smoke. I love the Street Profits. Been a fan since they were in NXT. I've been waiting for these guys to get their just due and be the most dominant tag team in WWE because they deserve it. But the Usos can't deny their legacy either. I mean, they're damn good. They've beaten some of the best tag teams in the world. Hell, one time they were tag team champs. They beat the New Age Outlaws. You can't get any more legendary than that unless you brought back like Edge and Christian or the Hardys, you know, or even the Dudley Boys for that matter. But the Usos are proving that they're dominant. They're having this great run. Now, granted, there was the shoulder being up with the controversy, which means there could be another match down the road with the Usos and the Street Profits. In fact, some people think that there might be one with like a mystery guest referee or something. But my thing is, and I even heard that, like I think you actually heard Montez Ford, this is another slip up. He actually went, why'd the fucking match stop? He dropped an F-bomb during the pay-per-view.
I think you can do that on the pay-per-views though.
You can and you can't. I mean, it used to be at pay-per-views, it was okay. But now with a PG rating,
sure,
it's hard to do. So but it was a slip up. I don't think he meant to do that. But when you're in the moment, you're going to say stuff like that because they saw the shoulder up. You know, it was great. But it also made great because it made you pay attention. Like, oh crap, that was
like,
serious.
was that on purpose? Like,
was that on purpose?
At first, I didn't see the shoulder. I didn't see that the shoulder was up. And then they did the replay. Then I thought, oh, they're obviously setting up a rematch for SummerSlam, and that totally makes sense. But Booch, this is, and I didn't Google it because I don't want to sound smarter than I am. But how long have the Usos been tag team champions for now? Is it over a year?
Definitely over a year.
Over 18 months.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not at the Roman Reigns level, but it's like half of that. It's close.
All right, so
it's like half of that.
How long have the Usos been champions?
No, it's like 353 plus days because they had the SmackDown tag titles for that long, but it's been 48 days that they've had the Raw belts since they beat RK Bro. So that's why I was saying that. Okay, so it's like 353 plus days as champions. So it's been at least a year.
Okay, and so here's the thing. I understand the people that want the title reigns that are, you know, that don't switch, but every few years. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But I just think you don't do that at the expense of holding back talent that doesn't need to be held back. Like, I think you can do something where the Usos lose the tag team championships. Roman Reigns looks at them kind of like a Hurt Business situation, where you could cause some family friction. You could up the ante with that. That ushers in a guest appearance by The Rock down the line to bring order back to the family. There's so many things you could do with that, right? If they think creatively, but we'll see how that works out. But like I said, at the expense of up and coming tag teams, and what I'm talking about here is obviously the Street Profits. And like you said, who doesn't want all the smoke right now? They're so over. Both of them are like, what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes in tag teams, there's one guy or girl who's like the favorite, right? And then like the Steiner brothers, Scott Steiner was obviously the favorite.
Well, the thing is, how it's described in tag team. It's like the Rockers. One guy is the Shawn Michaels, the other is the Marty Jannetty.
Sure, yeah.
Because ever since, and the reason that stereotype exists is because after the Rockers broke up, Shawn Michaels went on to become the Heartbreak Kid, the Showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, the main event, and Marty Jannetty kind of fell into obscurity.
Sure.
So that's why.
Still there? Is he still in obscurity?
I think so. Last time I saw him, he was on a MWF Insider show doing a show called Party with Marty. That's the last time I saw him anyway.
Nice. Hey, you're welcome on this show, Marty, just so you know. Come on anytime.
Marty Jannetty, yeah, absolutely. So the thing is, that's why they say that. Like, for example, one guy's whenever a tag team breaks up and one's going to become a star and the other one's over there, they always say, I'm Shawn Michaels and you're Marty Jannetty. Because they're basically saying, I'm the star of this team and you're nothing. And every tag team has had that in some capacity.
Sure. Good callback. Good insight. Booch, I, for one, I'm not ready for the Usos just to lose the belts. That's not what I'm saying. I'm ready for the Street Profits to win the belts.
Yes.
And I think that the WWE universe is also ready, but I hate that you're right about what you said earlier, is that the bloodline they're riding this thing until the wheels fall off. And that is a package deal. And as long as Reigns is the champion, they're going to be champions. And exactly. It makes sense. But like I said, how long until the Street Profits are like, okay, like we're going to go to AEW when our contract is up and be promised champions there? Because on any other promotion, they would be at the top of the ladder. 100, no pun intended. They would be at the top. And here they are, not at the top. And how long can this last before they just realize that they're stuck in WWE?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, hell, just recently on AEW, Keith Lee and Swerve became the tag team champions.
Keith Lee.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So him and Swerve Strickland, who would NXT was Isaiah Swerve Scott. They're now the tag champs. So they're already. So there you go. They're now capitalizing on that opportunity.
Usos. It was a good match. I mean, it was a fine match. I didn't hate the match. It was all right.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, it was the match of the night.
Well, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to be wrong, but here we are. You were right about this match, but you were wrong about it being the match of the night. Because, sometimes opinions are wrong.
What match was better than this one?
I call it the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Or, maybe Austin Theory, by the way. let's wrap this up because we got some things to talk about. I only have like 8 minutes, Booch. We're dawdling here.
Okay.
Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Lashley won, but really Austin Theory won because though he lost the match and lost the championship, he was the 8th man in the men's Money in the Bank, ended up winning the men's Money in the Bank, which ushers in a tremendous upside for this guy. Not only that, but he had the stones to get up there on a microphone and directly talk to Brock Lesnar and say, call his shot at SummerSlam after Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar are done. He is going to walk down. He is going to put his foot on somebody's chest, and he is going to be the WWE heavyweight champion. That is a huge shot to call. And for me, I believe it. Like I think Vince loves this guy so much.
He does.
That Vince will make it happen, and he'll do it in a way that makes sense. Kind of like what Liv Morgan did. there's no way Liv Morgan beats Ronda Rousey unless there's no way that Theory beats Brock or Roman unless these two beat the absolute hell out of each other. And what kind of match is it?
A last man standing match.
Perfect setup for Theory to come in with his phone, get the 1, 2, 3, and we have a new champion. And not only that, but we have mayhem in WWE, which is exactly what they need. They need a shakeup. I would much rather see a WWE where Theory is champion than one where Lesnar or Roman Reigns are champion.
Yeah, and I agree that Lesnar and Reigns, neither one of them needs to be champion anymore.
Been there, done it.
Been there, done it. But here's the thing about Theory, and I don't know what the plan is for this or why they're even going with this because there's not much of a story to tell with Theory. But here's the thing. If the goal of this is to make him the youngest world champion, they're idiots. And the reason is because Austin Theory is 24 years old. When Randy Orton won the world title for the first time by beating a person we're not going to name because he's a horrible human being for the world heavyweight title, he was 24. So Austin Theory is not going to be the youngest world champion if he wins because Orton already got there first.
Wait, but when's his birthday?
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it matters? You're older. You're older.
What are they still going to do? Oh, I'm 2 months younger. Give me.
Are you not? Do you not go by calendar, Booch? Is it next week yet? According to Booch, it's last month. Does it matter? I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, here we are in September. Happy fall, everybody.
That's stuff people do in like stupid arguments and stuff. Nobody counts that.
What are you talking about? He is the youngest. Like they do that in every other sport. They say
they do this in every other sport.
Age and the name. Yes, they do. Like the youngest to do that. They do it with basketball, football, hockey, baseball. So dude, you got to get out. You got to get out.
You tell me if a guy becomes the youngest person to win the slam dunk championship and they're 22, but his birthday's in March, but another guy wins at 22 and his birthday's in January, they hand it to him. They seriously do that?
But they don't do that competition. It's whoever wins. If he happens to be born in January and is the youngest to ever do it, then they'd say he's the youngest person to ever win the slam dunk championship. Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. If two people are the same age,
but they're not the same age if you're born before somebody, Booch. You're missing the point here, which is why you probably just need to send me the belt. Just send it. By the time I get it, it'll be due for me anyway because SummerSlam will have come and gone.
This is a prediction belt, not a math belt. I'm holding on to this. Okay?
Obviously.
I'm not okay. I'm not on here because I'm a mathematician.
Listen. I get it. You're the encyclopedia. Most encyclopedias don't have many numbers, and I get that. So, but let's move forward here, and let's talk about what's happening now with Dominic Mysterio. As we've seen as of late, there is a strong push by the Judgment Day to recruit this guy. I mean, they beat him on Raw. Finn Balor got a nice win. And it wasn't like we beat you up, you rejected us, now we're going to beat you up. It was we beat your dad up, we're going to stand over you, let you know that we could tear you apart, but we're also continuing to offer our hand to level up your career, which is a brilliant move. And I also love the facial expression, the nonverbals of Dominic, because he's standing there, or not standing there, kneeling over his father. He kind of looks up and there's this look of like fear, but also like wonder of like, he hasn't outright rejected it. That's what I'm telling you. Like they're leaving that looming doubt, which is exactly what you need. And
tell a story.
Dare I say, how fun would it be not to pull the trigger on this right now, but maybe after SummerSlam? Because listen, they keep losing matches, and you can't stick around for too much longer. And the Judgment Day needs something. They need like a young buck. Like maybe that would be a great plan. What do you see happening with this scenario?
Anybody that's ever heard me on this show or the Boochcast or wherever, I have been teasing the possibility of a Dominic Mysterio heel turn for the longest time. And I've already said you have the perfect story in place. Because according to WWE storylines, this is the encyclopedia thing coming back, biologically, Dominic is the son of Eddie Guerrero. That's his biological father. But because the story was Eddie hooked up with a random girl when he and Vicky were separated. She gave birth to a kid. They took the kid. She didn't, I guess the mom didn't want to keep it or whatever. So Eddie gave it to the Mysterios to raise because apparently Ray was shooting blanks. That's the story. That's all. I'm not saying anything. Now, that was the storyline. And that's why they had the whole thing about, Eddie Guerrero is the biological father of Dominic. Him and Rey Mysterio had the ladder match at SummerSlam 05 in order to the winner get custody of Dominic. And it was an emotional story, and it was great. And in the end, Vicky Guerrero came out, interfered, took out Eddie, pushed Eddie off the ladder, and then Ray climbed up, grabbed the briefcase, and got custody of Dominic.
Excuse me, in the spirit of Vicky Guerrero. But Booch, will you please get to the point here? People have to eat dinner.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here's the point. If this is how they're going to go about this, I don't know if I really want him in the Judgment Day, but this only way a heel turn for Dominic works, truly works, because the whole purpose of the Judgment Day is to embrace your true self. That's what Edge was preaching throughout this whole thing. That's why they said we're ready to shed the last thing that's holding us back, and that's Edge. You have to call him Dominic Guerrero for this to work. So, he cannot keep the Mysterio name and be heel. He's got to.
So let me tell you what I think I heard on Raw that validates what you just said. Finn Balor mentioned the 619, and he said, and that's not even your move. So he called out the Guerrero family for the fact that they're stealing moves from other people. So maybe it's a way to divide and conquer, obviously. It's not like they need to do it. They're just beating up Rey Mysterio, and, Dominic wants to be part of a winning faction, right? He's building his career. How much longer can you stick with the old man? I can see it happening. Whose move was the 619? If
Rey
it
Mysterio.
Wasn't. But they said that I think he was pointing to Ray like that wasn't even his move.
I don't know. Well, other wrestlers, I guess, have done it. I know Ray did it in WCW, but they didn't call it the 619. So I don't know who originated it.
So I'm thinking what he was saying without saying was that somewhere behind the scenes, maybe that was an Eddie move or a move that Eddie helped them create. And they're trying to use that as leverage to drive a wedge in between these two. Just something to think about. I don't know. I haven't done the digging on it. I'm sure there's dirt on it, but the 619, as far as I've known, has been the San Diego area code and made famous by one Rey Mysterio. But with that family tie-in, maybe they're gonna start planting those seeds of doubt, which it would be brilliant, and they need to do it.
They need to start planting some Guerrero seeds to make this really work, because, like I said, that's the only way this heel turn works, is if he changes his name to Guerrero. He cannot keep the last name Mysterio and be a heel. It's not going to work.
All right. With 1 minute remaining, Booch, let's talk about this Logan Paul signing to WWE. Listen, he looked good at Mania. I was expecting more than Bad Bunny would give, and he did. He gave more than Bad Bunny, which I know you're a huge fan. I don't mean to speak ill of Bad Bunny in front of you, Booch. I'll wait till you're off the camera. But Logan Paul delivered. I like what they're doing with him and The Miz. I love The Miz. He can take so much on the chin, and he's just so cool. And I know you don't like him because you had some beef and some squabbles. This is probably your fault. You were being hypersensitive, and that's just the way it goes, Booch. But here we are, and he's brilliant. And AJ Styles is just not over, but I kind of like what they're doing with Elias Light, and so I'm kind of excited about this.
Yeah, I love Logan Paul coming to WWE, and so there are some people who are happy about it, some people who are angry. And
first of all, why are people angry about this?
First of all, people hate Logan Paul. Anybody that's successful or makes a living from social media is automatically hated.
Sure.
Also, the whole Japanese thing where he went to Japan, he was in the forest and he found a dead body, and you put a dead body on camera. He blurted it out, but still you put a dead body on camera. It's like he said, "Oh my God, there's a dead body." It's not like he put low gang merch on it and took a picture. He saw a dead body, he panicked and called the police. So it's really a stupid thing he got mad about. But that was the whole controversy surrounding Logan Paul. and he was on this redemption thing, like when he was going through the whole boxing thing. Logan Paul's made a name for himself. And this is the thing. I love the Tommaso Ciampa thing. We talk about they're bringing this guy into my world. First of all, Tommaso Ciampa, the fact that he is working with The Miz is another example of NXT guys getting called up and getting the shaft. This is one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. That's a personal thing for me. That being said, people want to know why this outsider can come into their world. Here's why. Because people like him and Pat McAfee possess the skills that modern wrestlers don't have. And that is this: psychology, storytelling, pacing, working a match, reading the crowd, getting heat, getting a pop. They know how to do that. The only thing wrestlers know how to do today is the fancy little tricks. Because you guys are out there playing wrestler while other people are coming in to be wrestlers. Like guys like Logan Paul can come in because they have a built-in fan base that will draw them money. Mm-hmm. A lot of these younger guys, they can't draw money.
Yep.
They don't. They're not, because they're not, and the reason they're not stars, not because they're incapable of being stars, it's because they're not trying to be.
I mean,
Roman Reigns is trying to be a star. That's why he's on top. Brock Lesnar knows how to be a star. That's why he's on top.
Sure. I mean, but if you think about it, you talked about, cross branding, and they have a tremendous opportunity here. And as we conclude, because we got to wrap it up, but just think about all of, I don't know how many millions of followers, even half of his followers on Instagram alone, not to mention TikTok and whatever else he's doing. Are people still on MySpace, by the way? Does anybody still remember their MySpace password? I can't.
I haven't looked at MySpace in forever, but I will say, like I was saying before, not only does Logan Paul have all those things, he showed at WrestleMania he can deliver in a ring.
Yep. People
were blown away by how talented he was. And the thing is, he's taking it seriously, which is what I respect. He's coming. Yeah, he's an outsider. He's coming in. He's going to make more money than everybody else because of his name recognition. But here's the thing. He respects the business. He treats it with respect. He shows nothing but respect on his own podcast. He chastises people who call it fake. He talks about how painful it is. And he said, this was fun. And it gets to combine passion, business, and media all for him. So he's coming into this, taking it seriously, and is ready to go one-on-one with The Miz. And I'm excited to see that. And I'm not really excited for matches involving Miz.
And I'm ready to go one-on-one with the Booch at the aforementioned SummerSlam. What, 2 weeks from now? 3 weeks from now?
Well, it's 2 weeks from now, so we'll be back to do our predictions once the card fills up. But
excellent. And of course, Booch, like I said, just go ahead and put that in the snail mail. I'll have it around my shoulder. And actually, I could probably fit that belt around my waist if it still has the things around there, if you want to send it my way. But hey, all that aside, Booch, I want to let you know that you are still the Wrestling Encyclopedia and the one and only BUCCI. Honorable mention, of course, here with the wins on the Male Soap Opera moment. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we will never, ever leave without saying a couple key things, one of which is have a nice day.
The other is bang, bang.